Rodriguez sat in her small quarters aboard the spaceship Stellar Dawn, staring at the message on her screen. She read it 3 times to make sure she understood it correctly. The Galactic Educational Exchange Program wanted her to bring a predator from Earth to her xenobiology class on Kepler Station. She was the only human in the advanced alien biology course. The other 11 students came from different planets across the galaxy. Some had tentacles, others had crystal skin, and a few looked like walking plants. But Maya was the only one who looked like what most aliens called a typical mammal. The message was clear. Professor Zeth Kari wanted each student to present their homeworld's most dangerous predator. They had to show how evolution created perfect hunters. The other students would bring recordings, holograms, or preserved specimens of their planet's worst nightmares. Maya had already seen some of the presentations. A student from Velcara showed videos of shadow stalkers. These creatures lived on gas giant moons and could phase through solid matter to catch prey. The audience had watched in silent terror as the recording showed these beings hunting in packs, appearing and disappearing like ghosts. The aquatic student from Mertani brought footage of depth renders. These massive creatures lived in the deepest ocean trenches on their world. They were bigger than earth whales and had teeth like swords. The recordings showed them swallowing entire schools of fish in single bites. Each presentation made the other students nervous. Everyone tried to bring the most terrifying creature from their world. Maya understood why. In a galaxy full of different species, showing strength meant showing respect. Nobody wanted their world to look weak. Maya thought about Earth's predators. Great white sharks could bite through steel. Grizzly bears could crush bones with their paws. Tigers could hunt in complete darkness. Crocodiles had remained unchanged for millions of years because they were already perfect killers. But Maya had a different idea. She walked to her computer and sent a message to Earth Command. Her request was unusual. She needed live specimens and she needed them young, very young. The response came back faster than she expected. Earth Command was curious about her plan, but they agreed to help. They would send what she requested along with everything needed to care for them properly. Maya smiled as she read the details. This would either be the best presentation the class had ever seen, or it would change how every alien in the galaxy thought about humans. 3 days later, Maya received another message. Her specimens were on their way via express transport. Along with them would come Dr. Jake Morrison from the biology department and Commander Lisa Hayes from Interspecies Relations. Earth Command was taking her presentation seriously. Maya spent the next week preparing. She converted part of the cargo bay into a special habitat. She installed temperature controls, lighting systems, and safety barriers. She studied care instructions and feeding schedules. She read research papers and watched training videos. Her fellow students grew curious. They asked questions about her mysterious preparations. Some thought she might present recordings of humans themselves. Humans had a reputation across the galaxy as persistence hunters. They could chase prey for days without stopping. Others believed she might show one of Earth's extinct creatures, saber-toothed cats or giant cave bears brought back through advanced holography. The speculation grew wild, but Maya kept her plans secret. When Dr. Morrison and Commander Hayes arrived on Kepler Station, they brought Maya's specimens with them. Maya met them at the docking bay, her heart beating fast with excitement and nervousness. The transport container was smaller than she expected. Inside, she could hear soft sounds, shuffling, breathing, and what sounded like playing. Dr. Morrison smiled as he opened the container. Inside were 2 small furry creatures with pointed ears and bright eyes. They looked around curiously at their new surroundings, showing no fear. Commander Hayes handed Maya a data pad. "These are Scout and River," she said. "They're 6 months old, healthy, and they've been raised around humans since birth. They're perfect for what you have planned." Maya knelt down and extended her hand. Scout, the slightly larger one, approached without hesitation. He sniffed her fingers, then gently licked them. River was more cautious, but she came forward when Maya made soft clicking sounds. "Are you sure about this?" Dr. Morrison asked. "The other presentations have been pretty intense. Some of the students expect something terrifying." Maya picked up Scout, who immediately relaxed in her arms. "That's exactly why this will work," she said. "They expect terror. They expect nightmares, but I'm going to show them something they've never seen before." Over the next 2 weeks, Maya spent hours with Scout and River. She fed them, played with them, and watched their behavior. They were intelligent, curious, and incredibly social. They communicated with each other through sounds Maya couldn't always understand, but their body language was clear. Most importantly, they bonded with Maya quickly and completely. They followed her around their habitat. They slept near her when she stayed overnight. They played games with her and seemed to understand simple commands. Dr. Morrison helped Maya prepare detailed biological data, evolutionary charts, DNA analyses, and behavior studies. Commander Hayes provided historical information and cultural context. But Maya knew the real presentation wouldn't come from charts and graphs. It would come from a simple demonstration that would challenge everything the galaxy thought it knew about predators, evolution, and humans. The night before her presentation, Maya sat with Scout and River in their habitat. They had grown comfortable with the space station's sounds and smells. They were ready for tomorrow. Maya looked at them and whispered, "Tomorrow, you two are going to be ambassadors for our entire planet. Are you ready?" Scout wagged his tail and licked her face. River curled up against her side and made a content rumbling sound. They were ready. Maya had made her choice for a very specific reason. She could have brought recordings of Earth's most fearsome predators. She could have shown holograms of ancient monsters or modern military weapons. Instead, she chose to bring two small creatures that most of the galaxy would see as harmless pets. But Maya knew something the other students didn't understand. The most successful predators in Earth's history weren't the biggest, strongest, or most aggressive. They were the ones that learned to work with humans. Tomorrow, she would show the galaxy what real predatory evolution looked like. And it wasn't what any of them expected. Maya woke up early on the day of her presentation. Scout and River were already awake, playing quietly in their habitat. They had learned the daily routine aboard Kepler Station. When Maya appeared, both cubs ran to greet her. She fed them their breakfast while Dr. Morrison ran final equipment checks. The holographic projectors were working perfectly. All the biological data was loaded and ready. Commander Hayes had prepared backup files in case anything went wrong, but Maya wasn't worried about the technology. She was focused on Scout and River. They would be the real presenters today, even if they didn't know it. After breakfast, Maya spent time grooming the cubs. She brushed their fur until it was soft and clean. She checked their ears and teeth to make sure they looked healthy. She wanted them to make the best possible impression. Scout seemed to enjoy the attention. He stood still while Maya worked, occasionally turning to lick her hand. River was more playful, trying to catch the brush in her teeth. Both cubs were clearly happy and relaxed. Dr. Morrison watched Maya work. "You know," he said, "most people would be nervous about presenting to 12 different alien species. You look completely calm." Maya smiled as Scout climbed onto her lap. "I'm not the one giving the presentation," she said. "They are, and they don't know enough to be nervous." Around midday, other students began arriving at the lecture hall. Maya could hear them talking in the hallway outside her preparation room. Their voices carried excitement and curiosity. Some spoke in languages the universal translators struggled with. Maya had watched all their presentations over the past month. Each student tried to outdo the others with more frightening creatures. The Zephyrian student showed recordings of storm hunters that could fly faster than sound. The crystalline student from Altair Prime displayed energy beings that could dissolve matter with their touch. Every presentation followed the same pattern. The student would build tension, describe their creature's deadly abilities, then show recordings of it hunting and killing. The audience would gasp, shudder, or activate personal defense shields. Maya's presentation would be different, very different. Commander Hayes knocked on the door. "It's time," she said. "Professor Zethkari is ready for you." Maya stood up and looked at Scout and River. "Okay, you two. Ready to meet some new friends?" Scout wagged his tail. River stretched and yawned, showing no concern about the important day ahead. Maya had practiced this moment many times. She knelt down and patted her shoulders. Scout immediately understood and climbed up, positioning himself comfortably on her left shoulder. River took a moment longer but eventually settled on her right shoulder. Both cubs were surprisingly light. Their claws gripped her clothing without scratching her skin. They balanced easily as Maya stood up and walked around the room. Dr. Morrison opened the door to the lecture hall. Maya could see the other students already seated. Professor Zethkari stood at the front, his crystalline form glowing bright blue with anticipation. Maya took a deep breath and stepped into the hallway. Scout and River looked around with interest but showed no fear. They had grown used to strange sights and sounds during their weeks on the space station. As they walked toward the lecture hall, Maya could hear conversation stopping. Students were noticing her approach. Some were probably wondering where her presentation materials were. Others might be confused about the small creatures on her shoulders. Maya reached the entrance to the lecture hall. Through the doorway, she could see all 12 students waiting. Some had multiple eyes that tracked her movement. Others had sensory organs she didn't fully understand. All of them were focused on her. Professor Zethkari gestured for her to enter. His crystalline form shifted to a welcoming green color. "Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez," he said, "we are eager to see Earth's apex predator." Maya walked into the room with Scout and River still perched on her shoulders. She moved slowly and calmly, letting everyone get a good look at her companions. The reaction was immediate and unexpected. Instead of gasps of fear or impressed murmurs, the lecture hall filled with confused chittering and concerned whispers. Scout turned his head to look at the audience, his ears perked with curiosity. River pressed closer to Maya's neck but continued watching the strange beings around them. Maya reached the presentation platform and turned to face the class. Scout had shifted position and was now sitting upright on her shoulder like a living decoration. River had her front paws draped over Maya's other shoulder, looking completely relaxed. The silence stretched for several seconds. Finally, a student from Kepler's outer moon spoke up. Her translator rendered her clicking language into standard Galactic. "Instructor Rodriguez, where is your predator?" "Those appear to be companion animals," Maya smiled. "Thank you for the question. You're looking at them right now." More confused murmurs filled the room. Professor Zethkari's form shifted to yellow, indicating puzzlement in his species. Maya activated the holographic display behind her. Images of Earth appeared, showing vast forests, snow-covered mountains, and wide grasslands. "Class, I'd like you to meet Scout and River. They represent Canis lupus, the gray wolf." She gestured to Scout, who chose that moment to yawn, showing his small but sharp teeth. Individually, wolves are impressive hunters. They have bite forces over 400 pounds per square inch. They can run at speeds up to 40 miles per hour. They hunt in coordinated packs with strategies as complex as military operations. The hologram showed adult wolves hunting large prey. The students watched with more interest now, seeing the intelligence and coordination involved. "But," Maya continued, "that's not what makes them the most successful predators in Earth's history." She paused dramatically. River had gotten comfortable and was starting to doze against Maya's neck. Scout remained alert, watching the audience with intelligent golden eyes. What makes them truly extraordinary is that they learned to do something no other predator on Earth managed. They learned to hunt the most dangerous prey on the planet. Maya let the suspense build. Several students leaned forward in their seats. They learned to hunt humans. The lecture hall erupted in surprised exclamations. Several students activated defensive systems, thinking Maya was announcing a threat. Others began rapid discussions in their native languages. Professor Zethkari's form flashed bright red, the color of alarm in his species. "Lieutenant Commander, are you saying these creatures pose a danger to the class?" Maya remained completely calm. Scout sensed the tension in the room and sat up straighter, but he didn't seem frightened. River barely reacted at all, still drowsing peacefully on Maya's shoulder. "Please," Maya said, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's sound system. "Let me finish the story, because what happened next changed everything." The lecture hall slowly quieted as Maya raised her hand for attention. Scout had moved to sit directly on top of her shoulder now, his tail hanging down her back. River remained curled against her neck, completely unbothered by the commotion around them. Maya waited until she had everyone's complete attention before continuing. 60,000 years ago, wolves and humans were enemies. We competed for the same prey. We lived in the same territories. Sometimes they hunted us. Sometimes we hunted them. The holographic display changed to show ancient cave paintings and archaeological evidence. Images of early humans with spears facing packs of wolves, bones showing teeth marks, evidence of a long, dangerous conflict between two intelligent species. Both species were successful hunters, Maya continued. Humans used tools and worked in groups. Wolves used speed, strength, and pack coordination. For thousands of years, we fought each other for survival. She paused to scratch Scout behind the ears. He leaned into her touch, his eyes half closed with contentment. But then something happened that your species haven't encountered in your evolutionary histories. Instead of one species destroying the other, instead of fighting until only the strongest survived, humans and wolves did something unprecedented. The display shifted to show different images. Cave paintings depicting humans and wolves together, archaeological sites with human and wolf bones buried side by side, DNA analysis charts showing gradual changes over thousands of years. "We made a deal." The simple words hung in the air. Several students looked confused. The concept Maya was describing didn't fit their understanding of predator evolution. A student from the water world of Aquatica raised a tentacle. Her translator converted her liquid-sounding language. "Instructor Rodriguez, I do not understand. How do predator species make deals?" Maya smiled. It started small. A wounded wolf might follow human hunters, eating scraps from their kills. Humans might benefit from wolves' better hearing and smell to detect dangers. Over time, the bravest wolves and the smartest humans realized they were stronger together than apart. River chose that moment to wake up and look around the room. She made a small huffing sound that the translators couldn't interpret, then settled back against Maya's neck. The wolves who were most successful were the ones who could work with humans, Maya explained. They got better food, safer sleeping places, and protection from other predators. The humans who worked with wolves could hunt larger prey, had better warning systems, and stronger defense against threats. The holographic display showed the progression over thousands of years, wolves gradually changing shape and behavior, humans developing new tools and techniques, both species spreading across the planet together. "But here's the most important part," Maya said, lifting River down from her shoulder. The cub immediately relaxed in Maya's arms, rolling onto her back like a puppy asking for belly rubs. This wasn't domestication in the way you might understand it. We didn't break their spirits or force them to obey. We didn't cage them or breed them into helpless creatures. Maya gently rubbed River's belly while the cub made soft rumbling sounds of contentment. "We formed a partnership based on mutual benefit and trust." Scout demonstrated Maya's point perfectly. A small equipment malfunction in the back of the room caused a brief, sharp beeping sound. Instantly, Scout's relaxed posture changed. His ears flattened against his head. His body tensed. A low growl rumbled from his chest as he positioned himself between Maya and the potential threat. Maya didn't grab him or tell him to stop. She simply placed her free hand on his back and spoke in a calm, quiet voice. "Easy, Scout, we're safe. It's okay." The transformation was immediate and striking. Scout relaxed, his tail resuming its gentle wagging, but his eyes remained alert. He was still watching for danger, still ready to protect Maya if needed. The students watched this interaction with growing amazement. They were seeing something their species had never developed, a predator who chose to protect instead of hunt. Professor Zethkari's crystalline form had shifted to deep purple, indicating intense thought. "Lieutenant Commander, are you suggesting these creatures voluntarily defend you?" "Not just defend," Maya said. "They partner with us. Watch this." Maya set River down on the platform and took a few steps away. Then she called softly, "Scout, River, come here." Both cubs immediately trotted over to her, but instead of stopping at her feet like trained animals might, they flanked her. Scout positioned himself slightly ahead and to the left. River moved to the right side. They created a protective formation around Maya while still appearing relaxed and friendly. "They're not obeying commands," Maya explained. "They're following instincts developed over thousands of years of partnership. They know I'm part of their pack and they act accordingly." A student from the desert world of Zarian spoke up. His translator rendered his whistling language into standard Galactic. "But surely this makes them weaker predators." "They serve instead of hunt," Maya shook her head. "Actually, it makes them the most successful predators Earth has ever produced. Let me show you why." The holographic display changed again, this time showing Earth's modern era. Dogs working with police officers to track criminals, military units with canine partners detecting explosives, search and rescue teams finding lost people in disasters. Wolves didn't just partner with humans, Maya explained. They helped us become better hunters, and we helped them spread across the entire planet. There are now dogs on every continent in every climate, adapted to every environment. She gestured to Scout and River, who had settled down at her feet, but remained alert to everything happening around them. "These cubs trust me completely, not because I've dominated them, but because their species learned over thousands of years that humans are worthy partners. They'll defend me against threats, help me hunt if needed, and share resources with me." The room was completely silent now. Every student was focused on Maya and the cubs. Trying to understand what they were seeing, Maya continued. But the most important lesson is this. When you encounter humans in the galaxy, you're not just facing one species. You're facing the result of thousands of years of alliance building with Earth's other creatures. She looked directly at Professor Zethkari. We don't fight alone. We never have. And we never will. Commander Hayes, who had been watching from the back of the lecture hall, stepped forward. The lieutenant commander has volunteered to extend her stay on Kepler Station. Scout and River will remain as well, serving as cultural ambassadors to help other species understand this aspect of human evolution. As Maya finished speaking, something remarkable began happening. Students who had initially been confused or cautious were now leaning forward with interest. Some were making notes. Others were asking quiet questions among themselves. The cubs, sensing that the formal presentation was ending, began to relax their guard positions. Scout wandered closer to the front row of seats, his natural curiosity overcoming his protective instincts. A brave student from the forest world of Verdania extended a limb toward Scout. The cub sniffed carefully, then allowed the gentle contact. His tail wagged slightly, accepting this new being as non-threatening. Maya watched this interaction with satisfaction. This was exactly what she had hoped would happen. The student from Verdania made soft clicking sounds as Scout sniffed her extended appendage. The universal translator struggled with her plant-based language, but her meaning was clear through her body language. She was amazed by the cub's friendliness. Maya watched as more students began to show interest. The initial fear and confusion were fading, replaced by scientific curiosity. This was exactly the reaction she had hoped for. Professor Zethkari moved closer to the platform, his crystalline form now glowing a warm amber color that indicated fascination in his species. Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez, this partnership you describe, how extensive is it across human civilization? Maya smiled and activated a new set of holographic displays. Professor, what I've shown you so far is just the beginning. Wolves were our first partners, but not our last. The display showed images of humans working with dozens of different animal species. Horses carrying riders across vast distances, hawks hunting alongside falconers, dolphins working with fishermen to catch fish, cats protecting grain stores from rodents. Over thousands of years, humans formed working relationships with creatures from every environment on Earth. We didn't just domesticate them, we created mutual partnerships that benefited both species. River had wandered over to investigate a student from the ice world of Crystalla. The being's body was covered in natural frost, but River showed no fear of the cold. She sniffed curiously at the student's crystalline feet, her breath creating small clouds in the cold air around them. The Crystalla student made musical sounds that translated as wonder and delight. She shows no fear of my natural cold field. Most small creatures avoid my species. That's because she's learned to trust, Maya explained. Scout and River have been raised around humans who work with many different species. They've learned that different doesn't mean dangerous. A student from the gas giant Tempest raised multiple arms in a gesture requesting attention. His translator converted his storm-like vocalizations. But surely these partnerships weaken your species' individual abilities. You become dependent on other creatures instead of developing your own strengths. Maya had expected this question. Actually, the opposite is true. Let me show you something. She called Scout and River back to her side. Both cubs immediately responded, but they moved with confidence rather than submission. They positioned themselves near Maya while continuing to monitor the room around them. Watch their behavior, Maya said. They're not blindly following orders. They're making decisions based on their assessment of the situation. Maya walked to one side of the platform. Scout and River followed, but they spread out to maintain better coverage of potential threats. When Maya stopped, they took positions that allowed them to watch different areas of the room. Now watch what happens when I simulate a threat, Maya said. She made a sudden movement toward the edge of the platform as if she might fall. Both cubs reacted instantly. Scout moved to block her path while River positioned herself to catch Maya if she stumbled. Neither cub looked panicked or confused. They responded with coordinated precision. They didn't wait for commands, Maya explained. They assessed the situation and acted to protect a pack member. This kind of instant cooperation made both our species more successful hunters. The holographic display changed to show ancient hunting scenes. humans and wolves working together to bring down large prey like mammoths and giant elk. The coordination was remarkable, with each species playing to its strengths. Humans provided tools, planning, and endurance. Wolves provided speed, tracking abilities, and pack coordination. Together we could hunt prey that neither species could take alone. Dr. Morrison stepped forward from his position at the side of the room. What Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez isn't mentioning is how this partnership changed human evolution as well. Maya nodded to him to continue. Working with wolves taught us new hunting strategies, improved our social organization, and even influenced our physical development. Humans who could work effectively with wolves had better survival rates. The display showed comparative evolution charts, humans developing better communication skills, more complex social structures, and enhanced cooperation abilities. But the most significant change, Dr. Morrison continued, was psychological. Humans became the only species on Earth that routinely forms cooperative bonds with other species. We're naturally inclined to look for partnership opportunities. A student from the oceanic world of Pelagios made whale-like sounds that translated as skeptical inquiry. This suggests human expansion across the galaxy involves seeking partnerships with other species rather than conquest or competition. Maya and Dr. Morrison exchanged glances. This was getting to the heart of what Maya wanted to communicate. Exactly, Maya said. When humans encounter new species, our instinct isn't to dominate or destroy. Our instinct is to look for ways we might work together. Commander Hayes joined the conversation from her position at the back of the room. This is why human diplomatic missions always include cultural exchange specialists and partnership development teams. We're actively looking for ways to create mutual benefit. Scout had wandered over to investigate the Pelagios student's aquatic mobility device. The student extended a tentacle, and Scout sniffed it carefully before allowing gentle contact. His tail wagged slightly, accepting this new being as potentially friendly. See how he approaches new contacts? Meyer asked, cautiously but optimistically. He's looking for signs of friendship, not searching for threats. River had found a sunny spot near the room's environmental controls and was starting to doze. She was completely relaxed despite being surrounded by alien beings, strange smells, and unfamiliar sounds. Professor Zethkari observed all these interactions with growing amazement. The implications of what you're showing us are profound, Lieutenant Commander. You're suggesting that human success comes not from individual strength, but from collaborative ability. That's part of it, Maya agreed. But there's something else that's even more important. She activated a final holographic display. This one showed Earth's modern ecosystems, humans living in harmony with preserved wilderness areas, cities designed to accommodate both human needs and wildlife corridors, parks where children played while various animal species lived nearby. We learned that the strongest ecosystems are the most diverse ones. When we protect our partners, we protect ourselves. When we help other species thrive, we create environments where we can thrive too. The room fell silent as the students contemplated this concept. Most of their species had developed through competition and dominance. The idea of success through cooperation was foreign to them. A student from the desert world of Aretus made dry, crackling sounds that translated as thoughtful consideration. This suggests humans view the galaxy not as territory to conquer, but as an ecosystem to join. Maya smiled. Now you're beginning to understand what makes humans different. Scout had made his way around most of the room, greeting various students with cautious friendliness. River had woken from her nap and was exploring the platform area with confident curiosity. Both cubs were demonstrating exactly what Maya wanted to show. Predators who had evolved not just to hunt, but to evaluate, accept, and form bonds with different species. The lecture hall had transformed from a place of nervous tension to one of genuine curiosity. Students who had initially activated defense shields were now leaning forward to get better looks at Scout and River. The cubs, sensing the changed atmosphere, had become more adventurous in their explorations. Professor Zethkari's crystalline form cycled through several colors before settling on a deep blue that indicated profound contemplation. Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez, I must admit that your presentation has challenged everything I thought I understood about predatory evolution. Maya smiled as Scout trotted back to her side, his tail wagging from successful social interactions around the room. Professor, that was the goal. Every species in this room has shown us predators that excel at hunting and killing. But I wanted to show you predators that excel at something even more challenging. Which is? Asked the student from Crystalla, who was still marveling at how River had shown no fear of her freezing body temperature. Living, Maya said simply. Not just surviving, but thriving by making the world around them better. She gestured to the holographic display, which now showed modern Earth cities where humans, dogs, cats, birds, and dozens of other species coexisted in carefully planned environments. Every human settlement includes space for our partner species. We design our cities with parks for dogs to play in, perches for birds to nest on, and pathways for various animals to move safely through human areas. Dr. Morrison added, "What's remarkable is that these urban ecosystems often support more biodiversity than the natural areas they replaced. Human partnership doesn't reduce natural complexity, it increases it." A student from the volcanic world of Igneous made rumbling sounds that translated as skeptical curiosity. But surely maintaining all these partnerships requires enormous resources. How do humans justify such expenditure? Maya had expected this question too. Because it's not an expenditure. It's an investment that pays returns every day. The holographic display changed to show practical examples. Search and rescue dogs finding survivors in earthquake rubble. Police dogs detecting dangerous substances at spaceports. Therapy animals helping humans recover from trauma and illness. Our partners don't just coexist with us, Maya explained. They actively contribute to human civilization. Dogs can detect diseases, explosives, and drugs with accuracy that surpasses our best technology. Horses can traverse terrain that defeats our vehicles. Dolphins can navigate underwater environments we can barely enter. River had discovered that the student from Verdania produced interesting chemical scents. She sat at the plant being's base, breathing deeply and making soft, content sounds. The student's leaves rustled with what translated as delight. But the benefits go beyond practical applications, Commander Hayes added. Partnership with other species has made humans better beings. More empathetic, more patient, more understanding of different perspectives. Scout demonstrated this point by approaching the most intimidating student in the room, a massive creature from the heavy gravity world of Titanus. The being stood nearly 3 meters tall and was covered in armored plates. Scout showed no fear, walking up to sniff the being's feet with curious interest. The Titanus student made deep, booming sounds that translated as amazement. Small predator shows no fear of natural armor or size difference. This suggests unusual confidence in safety evaluation. Maya nodded. Scout has learned that size and appearance don't determine friendliness. He's been raised around humans who taught him to judge intentions rather than appearances. Professor Zethkari moved closer to observe Scout's fearless interaction with the armored giant. This confidence level suggests these creatures have developed beyond normal predator risk assessment protocols. Exactly, Maya said. They've evolved past the point where survival depends purely on avoiding danger. They've learned to actively seek beneficial relationships, even with beings that might initially seem threatening. The implications of this statement rippled through the room. Several students began quiet discussions in their native languages. The student from Aquatica raised a tentacle thoughtfully. This suggests human expansion into the galaxy might involve seeking partnerships with our species rather than competing with us. Maya smiled. We're already doing exactly that. Every human diplomatic mission includes specialists trained in interspecies cooperation. We're not looking for territory to conquer or resources to extract. We're looking for friends to work with. Commander Hayes stepped forward. In fact, the success of this cultural exchange program has led to expanded partnership discussions with several species represented in this room. The announcement caused excited chatter among the students. The possibility of beneficial relationships with humans was clearly appealing to many of them. River had settled down for another nap, this time curled up against the warm base of the igneous student's volcanic rock body. The being's translator conveyed pleased surprise that any creature would seek out their natural heat. Scout had completed his circuit of the room and returned to Maya, but he positioned himself where he could continue watching all the students. His body language showed relaxed alertness, ready to protect Maya if needed, but expecting friendship rather than threats. The most important thing to understand, Maya said, addressing the entire class, is that this partnership model isn't unique to wolves and humans. We've successfully developed cooperative relationships with dozens of species on Earth. The holographic display showed the full scope of human-animal partnerships. Working horses, hunting birds, fishing dolphins, guardian dogs, pest control cats, and many others. Each partnership developed organically over time, based on mutual benefit and respect. We didn't force these relationships. We created conditions where cooperation was more successful than competition. Dr. Morrison added, and each partnership taught us something new about cooperation, communication, and mutual benefit. By the time humans reached space travel capabilities, we had thousands of years of experience in interspecies diplomacy. Professor Zethkari's form shifted to bright gold, indicating approval and respect in his species. Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez, this may be the most important presentation in the history of our exchange program. Maya felt a warm glow of success as she looked around the room. Students were still gathered around Scout and River, observing their behavior and asking quiet questions. The Cubs were handling their role as ambassadors perfectly, showing friendly interest in each new being they met. Professor, Maya said, this is just the beginning. Scout and River will be staying on Kepler Station as permanent cultural ambassadors. Any student who wants to study human-animal partnership evolution can work with them directly. The announcement was met with enthusiastic responses from several students. The opportunity to observe and interact with humanity's first partners was clearly valuable to them. As the formal presentation concluded, Maya realized she had accomplished something more significant than just completing an assignment. She had introduced the galaxy to a completely different model of evolutionary success. Instead of showing the biggest, strongest, or most aggressive predator from Earth, she had shown predators who succeeded through cooperation, trust, and mutual benefit. She had demonstrated that the most dangerous thing about humans wasn't their ability to fight alone, but their ability to make allies across species boundaries. Scout and River continued their work as ambassadors, approaching each student with the confidence that had served their species well for thousands of years. They were living proof that the strongest predators weren't always the ones who hunted alone. As students began filing out of the lecture hall, many stopped to observe the Cubs one more time. Some took recordings. Others made notes. All of them were clearly thinking about what they had learned. Maya gathered Scout and River, both tired but happy from their successful day as galactic ambassadors. They had represented not just their own species, but the entire concept of cooperative evolution. Tomorrow, their real work would begin as permanent residents of Kepler Station, helping the galaxy understand what made humans truly unique among the stars.